right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, Day 83. And it's quite warm here today, so we're in a heat wave. All right, so no substantial updates on most of this. I got an email response from an accountant that they received my my information, so that's in progress. Did a little bit of work on the next video, and other than that, it's time to move on to what we always work on, which is the block mining simulation game. So yesterday, I continued on the refactoring arc of trying to refactor some of the screen merging, layer merging stuff for printing the UI. I found a regression last night, but I went back after the stream and was able to redo some of those changes without the regression, and that's on this branch here, so we'll make sure that actually works. OBK says hi. How's it going? Rick Brown, James says hi. Dougie Doomer says good evening. How's it going? All right, let's make sure this doesn't have that bug that I noticed yesterday. Okay, that looks good. My key is I've learned that, like, as long as you rigorously keep bugs and regressions, as long as you don't go backwards, even if your refactoring process is kind of like a bit like the intermediary stage of your refactoring is a bit complicated. As long as you don't break stuff, you can just like slowly delete stuff and move stuff around, and that's the best way to take a complicated system and make it simple. So one of the next goals is I have this function here. I could probably rename this. So this is used in two places now. And fundamentally that function is basically doing the same thing as this function. So I want to merge them, but there's other subtle bugs elsewhere in the program. Specifically, there's some issues with the multi-column characters. Caught the ping. Well, I guess like the YouTube notification, I guess. Orthoplex 64 sends a wave. How's it going? Okay, so this function, it's already pretty similar. The only other thing is how it's dealing with the multi-column characters. And I remember last night when I tried to bring this into the other one here, that caused problems. Now I think there's some things I can change upstream to fix that. Man, the passion is real. What do you mean by that? PY game fonts or a headache? PY game. I know that's it's like a Python library for making games. I used it. I actually used it for some like simple demo code once for my article about detecting key up events, but it's not something I'm actually familiar with. Good evening. I'm on 2 hours of sleep. I wanted to say hi. That's not very much sleep. I find it's the min number of hours of sleep to be productive is about 4 for me. Coding Java on Vim. Okay. It's I used an IDE for a bit. Well, I use it sometimes when I'm debugging, but I just my habits are too deeply set. Trying to spec a 20 point font yields 15, 24, 23, and all from monospace fonts. Fonts are deceivingly complicated. I haven't done much low-level hacking with fonts, but I know anytime I've really needed to mess with like font sizes or font settings and stuff, it's kind of it's like a whole, you could spend your entire career focusing on fonts. That might be an inconsequential change, but let me see if that breaks anything. Keep up the grind, brother. Yeah, I've gone this far. I think I'll probably go till at least 100. nice stream. I found your stream again. The YouTube recommendation. Sorry for this very confusing sentence. That's not too bad. It's that's a lot less confusing and more coherent than some of the messages that people send in chat. You get all sorts of crazy nonsense. All right, I think I can keep that change. I have a question. Why do you use Vim? I use Vim because it's the most productive thing for me. The question would be like, what is the alternative? Years ago, when I first started learning Java, I used Eclipse, and more recently, I guess I can open it up. I've been using. Let me, if I open that, let me do it right. I've been using IntelliJ. Let me set up the network reference. Now that'll take a minute to open. Actually, that kind of proves my point, is that to open this this is an old slow computer, and this is going to take like probably 1 minute before it actually opens IntelliJ. But with Vim, I just press the up key and then instantly I'm here. So that actually was one of the original reasons why I moved away from an IDE and just started doing pure command line. There are some things I do miss. I find I have like if I write a lot of code and then I have to compile it, I find it is a bit better just to open it in the IDE and then like fix all the compile errors. I would say the IDE is an indispensable tool when you really want to debug certain kinds of things. You can do the same kind of debugging with like printfs and stuff, but it's just less efficient. What are your thoughts on vibe coding? I find it accelerates app development. Don't need to Google how to do X in Python again. Side projects that would take days now take hours. Prototypes are quick. Yeah, it is high up on my to-do list. To actually do some vibe coding. I think probably after the next refactoring arc, like once I finish some of these changes that I'm doing here, I'm at probably around like day 100 or something. I have done a little bit of reading on cloud. I guess I'm still learning about all the different AI models. Like there's AI chat in IntelliJ. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to learn an IDE. But I want to take my time at this and like read the terms of service and stuff, because it's even like I don't even know how much access you give this kind of thing. Because I think there was a thing on Hacker News the other day about someone like someone accidentally sent their entire SQL database to the AI, and I don't know if it's like, just like secretly stealing everything on your hard drive in the background, or like how crazy. It kind of seems like the whole AI push has just been a license for like venture capitalists to like steal everyone's data. Yeah, but from what I understand, with IntelliJ, you can install lots of different plugins. I haven't actually used. What's kept me away from it is like I have done requests with ChatGPT to say like, what do you think about this code? And the the results it gives are impressive, but every time, like I looked into like how to use this thing, and then so of course I googled a review, and in the review it said like the plugin is like totally broken, and like very basic features don't work and stuff. So I just didn't get around to it. But I would say it's like every single stream there's at least someone who asks me about vibe coding and AI coding. So I want to try and get a couple more videos out before I actually get into it and then do a real review of it. It's unfortunate your computer's slow. Due to your stream, I wanted to try to set up an NV chat, but I immediately quit because it was too hard. Due to your stream, I wanted to set up an NV chat. I'm not sure what that is. I use VS Code, but also built an IDE. My game engine includes, because it's very convenient. Yeah, VS Code. I don't think I've ever used VS Code. I don't know anything about it. There have been a few editors. I guess VS Code is pretty established now, but there's like a new editor that comes out every couple of years, and then everyone says this is the new amazing thing everyone should use. NVChat is like a version of NeoVim that is already configured. It's easier than normal Vim. Oh yeah, NeoVim is another thing that people have asked me to try. I sudo apt-get installed it, and I opened it, and I confirm it was similar to Vim, but I have no reason to use it. Found HTML styling really difficult in the past. Vibe coding has really simplified this. Previously it was painful debugging, digging through Stack Overflow. Yeah, I could see that, how vibe coding, like vibe coding your way to fixing like CSS rules and stuff would probably be a pretty ideal case. When I do have to use terminal editor, I'm a Nano user. Nano is it's pretty primitive, but it gets the job done. Yeah, Vim takes a bit of learning, but I guess I learned it so many years ago, and then once it sunk in, I just stuck with it, and now I can't get off it. So what I could do, this will make it slow, but this will let me simplify some things. Ever thought about porting your game to WebAssembly? It's something I could do. I think it would make sense to. I mean, it's not really it's not a good enough game. It's not a good enough game yet. There's still a whole bunch of stuff I'd like to add to it. I don't know. I don't really think it's there's enough content in it to make it even like you can get through basically all the content in about 2 or 3 minutes. From the looks, if you add some more stuff to it, I feel it might get as big as a game like Cookie Clicker. If you just keep grinding, yeah, I think one of the main things I plan, like right now, there's so it runs in the terminal. That's the main feature to it. Now there's it's quite slow. Like if I go up, all right, let's go down, and then I release. You can see it's moving a bit extra. It's just it doesn't really feel snappy. So the thing I'm working on right now is just getting it so like updating the screen and navigating is very bug free. There's a few issues too with I think it's the algorithm for like merging different levels together. Oh yeah, one issue is what I want is I want to be able to specify so this square here, so it's all emoji text, it's all text characters, so it's all emojis. The background color of this character, that green, is different from what's underneath it. So I want to fix. I want to be able to specify, add the ability to make it basically inherit, let it merge down the layers, because the character player here is on a separate layer, and when it merges down, I want it to be able to just say use the layer below, and right now that's not supported. You have to specify a background color, so it'll either be a blank background color. But there's no way to say just inherit it from the layer below. So this, lots of issues like that I want to work through first to get the UI, the basics of the UI, and then after that, I think a multiplayer is going to be my next focus. Do you see that Elmo's X account was hijacked? I think I saw some video or post mentioning something about Elmo issuing an apology. So I don't know. I'm not sure what the detail. There was like something offensive posted or something, but not something I. There's too much drama on the internet and things that. Videos and articles that I could click on that I don't need to click on. See, also another suggestion, it'd be cool if you use the OS's APIs and add audio. And also about WebAssembly, if the game ever gets ready for port, it'll probably be very easy because it's just text. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. So the actual design. So right now, I don't, for the code that's public, I don't have, I haven't released any of the work I've done because it's incomplete for the multiplayer stuff. I actually started it with multiplayer, and I actually do have like I have like a proof of concept client in like WebAssembly, or no, sorry, in just in React.js. It looks like I've put like 1% as much work into that as I have on this client. But so for the multiplayer client, there's what you're seeing running right here is a single jar and the client and server together and just compiled together. But I can also have a separate like Maven rule to build actually it's deployed as a Tomcat web server. So there's a Tomcat web server endpoint to talk to the same API, and you can play the exact same game right now through that API. The issue at this point is that there's no concept of like multiple players or like session IDs or something. It's just anything that connects to it can modify the server. So like if two players connect to it, they're both controlling the same player. There's also a bunch of issues with I need to refactor like how events in general, how the user modifies the world, because a lot of the updates are actually like, for example, initializing chunks is not done within the server class. It's done in the client class, and then it's sent. The updates are sent to the server as a message. So I need to redesign that kind of thing. So it's the chunk generation is done by the server, and then once the server's finished, it updates the client. All right, it's getting closer to being identical. Yeah, I was actually kind of thinking that a good use case for AI might be trying to port stuff quickly. One aspect though, like in terms of the code, it's fairly multi-threaded, and I think some of the like the threading and stuff, a lot of the threading and concurrency aspects might not port very well, but That's interesting. It did not save my position. I'm not sure if that's a new bug or not. JB says, howdy, Mr. Robert. How's it going? All right, so now I think the only actual difference is this code for the multi-column characters. Yo, bro, how are you? Not too bad. How are you? Now, last time, this introduced bugs. Always surprised. Use terminal as editor. I can barely edit file using Nano. I guess I never learned. Well, I have. I'm way more. I have learned to use Eclipse, was what I used back in the day, and then IntelliJ. I learned a bit about that. But I just never. I find all my muscle memory and habits and stuff are from coding in the command line. Oh, nice. Maybe this doesn't have the progression. I think there was at least one typo. I saw at one point last night. I think I might have messed up like X or Y somewhere. Maybe that was the issue all along. Thank you, I'm fine too. Excellent. My messages don't seem to be showing up on the live stream. Is there some keywords that cause your messages to be redacted? And so that's a common. I guess that's your first chance. If up here on the side, if you look kind of beside my cursor on the chat, it says top chat. You can also switch that to live chat, and I think that this is on my end. I think you can also change that on your end, and I think if you can, then you'll probably see your hidden chats. Now I can change this to live chat. But I've decided as just an interesting, like I have to moderate the chat a little bit, but I also like being lazy. So what I've decided to do is just leave it on top chat, but I also think it's interesting. I like the idea of letting people know that they're being censored, because that like there's basically zero filtering that I have. There are several people I've had to ban, but who are like posting pretty bad stuff, or like just like spamming and stuff like that, like sending 10 nonsense messages at once. So the whatever is caught, like there's probably some, and I think it's some. Well, we've had a lot of discussions about what triggers the filter, but there's some like really deep logic going on, and I don't know what he's trying to filter for. Like often I find current events and stuff, like if people try to talk about something that controversial thing that happened in the news, that's an often thing that'll get you flagged. Also, if someone mentions, I find a really common one is people will make a joke about a common conspiracy theory, and that joke will get censored because I think it's getting, close to something that's sentiment analysis that's constantly updated. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty sophisticated now. So it's probably like if you took the transcript from what I'm saying and pasted it into ChatGPT, I'm sure ChatGPT can like summarize and understand what I'm talking about. So I think it's it's some deep calculation going on. Sorry, just UW student who's interested in meeting up if you ever had time. I did one meetup at I don't know, I may go to if I'm around in the fall for the fall reading week. I'm not sure what the date will be for that, but I don't know if you saw my my video. Have you seen my video about the University of Waterloo, the loneliest university? You were on co-op at the time? Yeah, I don't know. There's a few people that seem to like that video, so I don't know. I wouldn't mind going back and doing another like. I was on a limited time budget to do that one. I wouldn't mind doing. I have some better sound recording equipment. I think the sound ambience is important for that. I wouldn't mind going back and doing another. Just take some like artistic, cinematic, shots of the campus and stuff at night, and the bus going by, and the miserable weather and stuff. All right, this is a good sign because it means I think there are no regressions. Yeah, there's still some, I need to figure out maybe some better behavior for, like this case where a multi-column character on the layer below. I don't know. The question is what's the right approach to that? I guess it would make sense. It would make more sense if it obscures what's below it. UW's CS Club hosts events. Would you ever be interested in speaking at them? I guess I wouldn't be opposed to it. Honestly, I feel like I'm constantly busy, not accomplishing much. I always have a busy schedule to like get a video released or something like that. Trying to keep up, trying to get my revenue up. I have a lot of long-term plans and stuff, but I don't know. Year after year, I just feel like I'm spinning my wheels, trying to pay the rent, trying to catch up with all the. I spent more than a week recently getting taxes done. But yeah, it's a possibility. I'd also thought about this. I mean, I still actually do know a few people in the area. I should really reach out to them and do some podcasts or something, or like just do like one podcast episode with some people I know from the area. Get their thoughts on AI and stuff, and so many things to do, so little time in the day. Okay, I think that's a good change to keep. If anything's ever possible, feel free to reach out. Your local legend at UW. Yeah, I've seen. I know my a couple of my blog post was pretty well received. The SE kids really like your hardware blogs. You mean the website blogs or in the of the video related ones? Because I have a blog. I put a lot of work into my blog over the years, but it's basically like the amount of benefit the written blog gives me now is like website. Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, it's they don't get very much traffic. Everything's gone toward video. Like the amount of like benefit I get from making a video is like 1,000 times greater than a blog post. All right. Yeah, I guess, I mean, if I did speak, I guess the question would be what would I say? What are the that's not lots of focus as I could have, but to actually deliver any value. I mean, lately I've been leaning. I did go to like meetup events and stuff like that. I thought maybe that's a good way to like market myself. But the scalability of doing stuff online is just so much greater than like when I think if I go to a meetup, I'll maybe meet like 10 people or something. And it's definitely more impactful to meet people in person. But the scalability though of streaming or whatever, like it's very low frictional the amount of friction to actually publish content online of any kind of video. And then if the video really pops off, thousands of people can see it. Or like my how to make a CPU video. There's a lot of work to make that, but it's I don't remember. It's got like 13 million or something now. Let's see. they consider day drinking? Do you consider day drinking a worthwhile activity? Not really. I guess that's maybe that's something you do for a bit as a kid, but it's not particularly productive. You can also, that's an activity that will get you into trouble. Navigating university courses, internships, cool stories, how you got into consulting. Yeah, a lot of that is like for some of that I have in my videos. It's if someone asks me off the cuff and like I'm not prepared, I can't really like prepare the answer to be like the most high impact, which is I guess why I've just been like, I should make videos on that. I think honestly for a lot of my consulting experience, I think I've said most of what I can say on that in some of the videos, although some of the some of the meaningful ones don't actually get a lot of views. All right, this works, which is good. Are you part of the Builders Club at Waterloo? No, I guess that did not, as far as I know anyway, I don't think that existed when I was there. I was in Velocity Residence, which from what I understand was quite different when I was there. Actually, the first couple years of Velocity, it was like, I don't know, so the social atmosphere and networking opportunity of that I thought was quite good, and then it kind of petered out after that, and then I guess whoever took over as the leadership kind of just ran out of gas. And then from what I understand, there was like basically no events, like there was no entrepreneurial focus on it at all. All right, I improved font sizing by sizing all the printable characters. Taking the largest rectangle and using that to dimension the terminal window. Excellent. Oh, it's a city club? Oh, okay. I'll have to Google that a bit more. I was actually thinking about making a video, or I haven't figured out how to structure it, but I don't know. Have you watched my my world domination video that I put out recently? And had some wacky concepts for like building an underground city and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. And I thought there's like the way the future that we were promised in the past kind of doesn't exist, and it seems like we're straying further away from that. When we go live in the Arctic, I have two ones where I reference that. It is in the most recent one. It's where I've one called, like, I think it's Dropping Out of Society. That's where I proposed my idea of going up there and building a town center. And then the most recent one was the video was it's a telephoto shot of me standing in like right beside a river with a bunch of green grass in the background. Anyway, in that one I also experimented with ChatGPT's, I actually paid for ChatGPT, so it would give me some fast image generation to do some like prototyping of, just to see what I can actually generate. And honestly, those AI images are pretty impressive in my opinion. But you can go off grid if you want. Go to D-line. Go like 30 kilometers in any direction. Yeah, I guess let me. I didn't quite finish my thought. Anyway, I was thinking what we kind of need in the world. Like I would like to like that's a kind of, that's a grandiose, unrealistic thing. But it would also be interesting. I would like to hear from other people about like what are some examples of like maker clubs, and not necessarily just the technological aspect, but maybe more some of the like social, cultural, like finding places where people can go, like idealistic people who want to talk about like how to fix things in the world, not necessarily like, I mean, it could be political or not, but I think was it in Britain they had when I think coffee shops first came out, there were all these coffee shops where everyone would go and drink coffee or tea or have caffeine, and they would just, like, random people would go there, and I guess because it was an earlier time in history, there was less people and stuff, so you could actually like it was kind of like the equivalent of a bar or something, but instead of like going to a bar and talking about technology or technical innovation or open source software or homebrew CPU design or something like that, it's not you wouldn't really go to a bar to talk about that. But if there was like a directory of places you can go to network with people like that, and also bring some of the I don't know, more interesting aesthetic. Honestly, I probably I may get around to doing a video on something like that at some point, just to like soliciting from people who have examples about what I'm talking about. And I think it would make the most sense if I'll probably use some AI. Like some people said they're like, oh, this would be so much better if you didn't include those AI images. But I really like AI image generation. It's very convenient for when you want to like explain something or portray a concept. Because I can like I can put a ton of detail in the prompt, and they're honestly it's usually pretty good. And actually including like I used Grok. I know their new model came out. I haven't tried the new model, but the older model for image generation, I'd find it would quickly start forgetting the stuff that I ask it for. Like if I had beyond like 3 or 4 aspects saying like the picture must include this and this and this, it would quickly start forgetting them as I add more stuff. But ChatGPT's image generation was quite a bit better. I think it's quite a bit slower though. Honestly, those AI images took me quite a while to generate. I know. I think people get the impression you just like prompt it and then it comes back immediately. But for a lot of those, I would generate like 30 iterations of the image, and then I'd get like maybe one that I thought was really on the money. All right, that's another bit of really gnarly code deleted. How hard was getting into UW back then? Apparently, it's a shit show. Honestly, I think back when I got in, I think it was way easier back when I got in. Having said that, I think my case is also kind of special because I applied as a mature student. My high school grades were not great, and they recommended doing these like pre-university courses through Waterloo, and then I started doing those, and they actually rejected me initially, and then I actually got put on a wait list, and I get in through the wait list. And I think it was I'd known about I chose Waterloo because it was heavy on math. Originally, I was thinking about doing a pure math degree, but then eventually I decided, I think initially I wanted to do maybe technology, nanotechnology. But I think actually they said nanotechnology was competitive, and that I probably wouldn't get in. So they instead they were. I think software engineering was my second choice at that point, so that was what I ended up going to do. And this was the year before I think Bill Gates came to the university and it was a big deal, and there's all these articles about it and stuff. And then I think they started the Perimeter Institute, and Stephen Hawking came, and that stuff happened after I got in. And that really boosted my, that really boosted the reputation of the university. I think after that, everyone started applying. Robert, just want to say you are the man. You have provided great life school programming advice. That's proven very valuable for me. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad that some of my words are useful. Nano used to be very competitive. It was all the hype. Bill Gates and Hawking. No one comes to UW now? Yeah. And actually I remember back in the day, in 2007, I watched this is way before, a couple years before I came to university. I was always very into tech. I watched a Google Tech Talk by Geoffrey Hinton, and I got really into some of Geoffrey Hinton's stuff, restricted Boltzmann machines back in the day. And I always thought it was so amazing that living in the middle of nowhere, I can watch these videos about technology and stuff. And then when I came to Waterloo, this was before I think a bit before Jeffrey Hinton got super famous, he actually came to Waterloo, and I was able to go to a Jeffrey Hinton talk in person. I remember thinking at the time, like, wow, this is so incredible. I watched this guy years ago on YouTube, and I thought I was lucky to even be able to like see these this type of content remotely on the internet, and now I'm in the same room as this person. I'm hearing that meta recruiters used to come to graduations. They would pick people. What's it like now? You say used to. So has Waterloo fallen out of favor? Weird Googling profs. They're straight up celebs in their field. Yeah, it's a great feature of when you go to a good university. Make sure that works. ITK man, I think it just back in the day, Waterloo was like Silicon Valley 2.0. Now it's like a parody land. It's honestly, I think it's there was they used to call it like Silicon Valley of the North. Personally, I don't think I don't think that's good marketing to call yourself. Peter Thiel has a phrase that the something of somewhere is the nothing of nowhere. And I think if we were to forge an identity and like market it, it would not be like we're just like this other place, but we're like the little brother of it or something. There's definitely a lot of talent here. I think it's maybe better than rather than parody land. I'd say it's like the land of squandered opportunity. Like there's so much opportunity and talent, and like so many hardworking people and great people that you could invest in, and just so the ball has been dropped so much on so many aspects of leadership, and part of that is also just the venture capital world, which, I mean, venture capitalists are working in their own interest, but I mean, you can also make connections through the prolonged zero interest rate era. That yeah, I mean, like back when, like you can kind of look back at it. One way to look back at it is the golden era. Like I remember there was a company. Honestly, all this would make for good video content topics. There was a when I did Velocity Residence, like I remember we all felt like superstars. We're all going to be like CEOs of our companies and stuff, and they kind of, I mean, they boosted our egos up and stuff like that. But part of it was also there was a lot of just like money flying around, and there was one particular person. I'll just be vague, that I got acquired, and like from my perspective, the company, they didn't really do a lot of work in the company, and then they like immediately got acquired. And this was around the time when Instagram got acquired for like $1 million or $1 billion or something, and that was one of those famous success stories where like they started Instagram and worked on it for, it was like an absurdly short amount of time. I think it was like a few months or something, and then they just sold it for $1 billion, and that's when all these, that was like kind of peak zero interest rate era. And that was when I was in university, and we all felt like superstars. We're all going to be millionaires, and that kind of environment made it seem like, oh, it's really easy to do this stuff. But really, I think what was happening then was there was just so much venture capital money sloshing around, and basically the success model for a lot of that stuff was to like front run I forgot the punchline. They acquired this guy's company, and then I found out through the grapevine, this is hearsay, that apparently the company was basically acquired by accident, and then they like immediately shut down the company. And so like, they got a, $1 million, multi-million-dollar payout among them. But of course, it's one of these, there's news articles published like, oh, this genius tech entrepreneur CEO, but it's really just like companies with so much money, they don't know what to do with it. And then they acquired this thing as an accident. And now he's a, millionaire genius entrepreneur. So I think that is, that environment used to exist, and now that environment does not exist. So that is kind of responsible for a bit of the damper on the situation right now. There's not, you don't see as many people getting acquired by accident and becoming accidental millionaires. How much have you raised so far? I think it's approaching. I looked at the total last time. It's approaching $2,000 or so since the beginning of the series, around day one. Just read the Bill Gates book, source code. He was there to sit at the computer and code for like 30 hours straight. That's one way to do it. I prefer to just try to make like incremental. I try to work in such a way that I can work with like a very regular, repeatable cadence. Because I find when you if you go a bit too hard, it becomes tempting to like after that 30 hours, you'll be like, oh man, I'm tired. I deserve a break. And then you take a break, but the break is too long. People here are still innovative. Just that Canada doesn't have enough opportunities to get blue grads to stay. They all just go to USA. Yeah, I think it's and honestly, like, given the current state of things and the future and stuff, I know everyone's supposed to say elbows up and stuff, but I still think leaving Canada for the States is the better strategy today. It back in from like 2000, after I graduated 2014 to 16, it really seemed like Canada was on the up and up, and like that we were going to become our own Silicon Valley tech hub, but it's not clear. I don't know, maybe things are recovering a bit. I mean, the world is also difficult to understand because COVID wrecked a lot of things. Like, I used to go to meetups and stuff sometimes, and then a bit after, I don't know, this was like 6 months ago or something, I looked on Meetup, see like just, what events are there? Like, let's say I go to an event tonight, even though I probably won't. And a bunch of them were like, they were all like virtual events. Back in, when I first graduated around 2014 or so, one of the main things I did to try and maybe get work was go to meetup events and just like chat with random people there. And there was like 2 or 3 meetups sometimes every day about like a JavaScript framework or some kind of tech thing. And I'm sure there's still a bit of that, but I don't think there's as much. But eventually that'll maybe come back, or maybe it won't, because now I think it was around 2019 or so that I realized like social media is an even bigger deal than I thought it was. And it kind of seems like in the future we will all be forced to be live streaming all the time. That may become the new meta for advertising. Definitely should talk about these things in your channel. Canada's tech market so underrepresented. Yeah, honestly, I've been part of this like whole raising funds for World Domination Day X series has been just an experiment to see like what kind of interactions would I have, how much money would I make, how many members would I get. From one of my takeaways is a lot of my conversations have led me to think like, I should make a video on this or that. So, I'll give one mental upvote to that idea, because there's a few things I'd like to put together. I take some time to like, collect my thoughts. Got a couple other videos to get through, but there's definitely a story there, I think, with like, squandered talent, squandered opportunity. Building a startup for focus to get acquired is IMO a vicious cycle that just further pressures founders to build hype over useful products. Yes, I 100% agree, but it's even worse than that, because I think there's multiple like second and third order effects of that too. So it's like you're right, but you don't know how right you are. Because one effect of that is like, if you're a young person, let's say you're some young idealist, you're going to look around for like role models. You're like, what do I want to become? What's an example of a person I want to emulate? And if the only thing you know about is like, genius entrepreneurs who got accidentally acquired by some company for $1 million, and there's no, if the success is basically like noise, if it's almost like there's no signal to latch onto. The question is what you're going to end up with is people who end up chasing the kind of like arrogant, smug, like for a while there was some backlash against like the so-called programmer culture of like just like arrogance and bravado, and there's a whole generation of people who just saw that and they're like, that's what I should pursue if I just fake it till you make it. Honestly, I think that's an often repeated phrase, but I think a lot of the people who pursue fake it till you make it don't really end up making it, even though maybe they convince people of that. And there definitely are people who are making it, who are like doing real useful things, building products, innovating. Those people are not faking it. And from what I know about those people, they try to like avoid those programmers and fake till you make it people like the plague. All right, let's try to do some more development. So there's no regressions. That's very good. I was kind of concerned that might end up being crazy complicated. Interesting talking to you. Good night. Have a good night. Nice. We've acquired one new member. Welcome to Mind. You're the first new channel member I've had in, I think, a week or so. Actually, I should probably never mind. Let me test this. This might do what I want. That's not right. I can't see anything. Oh, is it frozen? All right then. How come that doesn't work? Actually, that might make sense. Hello, Redman. How's it going? I succeeded in simplifying this function a bit more. So now I had 3 different implementations of this function, and they're all merged down into this implementation here now. Must admit, I've not played your game. I assume very few people have actually played it. Honestly, if I saw this game someone was working on, I wouldn't play it. I'm very averse to running random code people put on the internet. Like NetHack though, I've never played that either. I never heard of it actually until a bunch of people in chat mentioned it. Is there like like an MMO aspect of it? I forget. I've Googled it a couple times, but insanely detailed roguelike. I knew of like Gmuds and stuff back in the day, but anything with like, I can't remember if NetHack, if it requires you to read a lot of text. I never really particularly liked things that require you to read stuff. Yeah, sounds like an interesting era of the internet. If I can ever actually get this thing working with multiplayer, then maybe I can bring something like that back. Yeah, these days it's all AI chatbots and stuff like that. I have a web form set up for something. I was checking it today to see if I got any messages, and given the nature of it, I don't have any like captchas or security. It was just a simple thing, and since I set it up, it's gotten 800 messages, and they're all like random, like a significant percentage of them are in Russian. They're like these Russian language scams. It was only for nerds, government, ham radio people back in 1993. Are we all going to die? No, we can all be happy and live happily ever after. The hardest thing to flow with. The hardest thing is to flow with the flow. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Changing times, I guess. Now, I think the next thing I'm going to do, I think I'll have probably two functions. So there's going to be the merge changes function that actually merges changes in. And then the compute differences. I'll maybe call this like set difference flags. Made my first Rust crate type flow macros. Excellent. Congratulations. You're never learning Rust? I probably won't either. Where is that electro circuit guy? I mean, the guy who was, I warned him a couple times and almost banned him. Domination. That's the idea. Is there lava in the game now? Currently, there is no lava. Only Java. I guess that would be a pretty natural progression for next thing to have. Ever listen to music while programming? Almost always, if I'm listening to music off stream. But on here, there's like copyright considerations, and then even if I use some like stupid copyright-free music, then it's probably just like some stolen music that they, it's I think there's tons of that stuff out there, or it's, I don't know, I don't even know what I wouldn't want to like use that for a month and then find out like, oh yeah, this month worth of videos gets taken down because they're all copyrighted. So we're thinking JBoss for the backend multiplayer, web server, Spring Boot. It's currently using Spring Boot. So technically, multiplayer, I already have a bunch done on multiplayer. I implemented multiplayer before single player. But then once I got the kind of bare bones done, I completely switched back to the single player aspect. So there's like a packet serializing system. Like you can already do a basic, like the basic single player experience works as a networked application. But if you connect multiple clients, they both will end up controlling the same player character. So it would be kind of a lie to say it already exists, but it's there's also a whole bunch of design flaws I have to fix. There's a lot of things that should be done on the server, like chunk initialization. The actual calculation of the chunks is currently done by the client, not the server. Multi-tenancy not solved yet. Multi-tenancy. Do you mean on the hosting side, or? And there's also kind of like the concept of the player object right now, or like session concepts. A lot of that is it's not really not very fleshed out. Currently, the actual experience of playing it is still quite laggy, but I think once I finish this next refactoring arc, it'll be quite a bit faster. Yeah, there's currently no ability to right now. If I actually set up a version of the web server, anyone could connect to it, and then and there's no authentication or anything. You just connect to the port and send packets, and both of them would control the same player character. So I think actually locally on your screen, you'd probably just see you probably wouldn't notice any difference, but I think it's actually just the saving. So your client would kind of just desync and then, continue in its own world. And then when you reconnected, you'd find you're in a totally different location, and your inventory has whatever the inventory of the other person had. Or it would have your last session. It would just be a race condition of whoever overrode it last. Is it hot over there in Ontario? Yes, we are currently in a heat wave. Here, gRPC is fast for communication. What is that? What layer does that operate at? Is that like a? I'm not familiar with what that is. I have it. It's built using WebSockets right now, and actually I have a proof of concept that works in the web. So that you can also have a web client. That's a possibility. CZ Top says hello. How's it going? So I just thought about this, and I think I can do an approach that'll be really fast. gRPC is application layer. What kind of context does that operate in? So it would be like it's a library, or is it in C or Java or for web programming? Billy R says dinosaur. Nice. Thank you very much. Go walk and crash, sleep. Energy depleted. Need recharging. Ciao for now. Thank you very much to James Goodrich, if I recall correctly, for the $10. gRPC is remote procedure call. I assume it was, yeah, RPC. I recognize that acronym, but it's developed by Google with official runtimes. Okay, so it's multiple languages, but it's open source standard. Okay, so there's like there's a gRPC implementation for many languages. Yeah, that sounds. I had not heard of that before. It sounds useful. For the API for this, actually a critical feature of it. There's a few kind of like core concepts I want to keep with this theme. One is like that everything is a block, so it's a block in a giant matrix. But also. Another is the API is going to be very simple, and currently there's only like 3 message types. Google's remote procedure call takes the place of REST AOI API. Okay. It's a session layer since it's between hosts. Yeah, for this, well, I can actually show. So I have, I guess 4 message types. I may add a couple more for like some of the authentication and stuff. So there's probe regions, which is read or write a region of space. Or I guess no, probe is for read and subscribe to a region of space. Describe regions, which is so if you want to do a write or send a notify, so if like something in the world changes, if someone else mines a block, then it'll send a describe regions message saying that that region of the world has changed, and then just a couple message error notification and acknowledgement. And so the probe regions or describe regions will send an array or a list of regions of space that'll be updated. Let me think. Okay, we're going to make this function look kind of similar to this one. Oh, nice. We get another channel member tonight. Session layer, since it's between hosts. Cool. Yeah, I'll probably stick with what I have going so far. Welcome to the member tier, Frozen Spaceman. We got 2 new channel members tonight. No need for RPC. Yeah, I guess, I mean, RPC is also, I think for something like a game where like you can have untrusted clients, I think it's a good idea to have a simple API so it doesn't get hacked. Frozen Spaceman sent 1 gifted membership. So we got 3 new channel members tonight. But who received the gifted membership? Is it still calculating? Interesting. It usually it says who received the gifted membership. I can't congratulate them. Right, I think this will do what I want. And now I can delete. Oh, actually, we've never seen it not say who got it either. Yeah. Well, thank you for sending the gifted membership. I'm sure someone got it. Maybe it's just lagging. That's it's not very nice of Google. If someone's nice enough to give a gift, then Google just steals it. And they're like, nope, nobody can have that. I think even if the person's like not online, it'll still usually put it in the chat. Roger Murphy says hello. How's it going? Oh, that's a bad bug. Good, excellent. How far along are you? I am close. I'm close to being finished the infinite amount of work that I need to complete to finish the game. I guess maybe you're referencing the raising funds for World Domination title. I think so far, I think the total is close to around $2,000. So I need to raise 12 billion. So we're getting there. We're getting close. All right. Let's try this now. Actually, no, I still need that. This will take too long. It might take a while, but you just gotta think positive. I think you'll retire in a coffin. Everyone will retire in a coffin. You'll retire in 200 years? Maybe. But you just gotta think positive. Gotta give them your salary. That would be a lot of money. I mean, that would speed up the process if I could just get a whole bunch of people, like a few tens of thousands of people, to give me their salary. You don't have one? You're 11? Are you actually 11? Wow, that's quite young. I'm not sure if you're joking, but I would not expect there would be people that young who watch my content. Robert, I found you because of Linux command videos. System admin is how I found you. Awesome. Yeah, I put a lot of work into that short series. It did not generate a lot of money, but it did generate quite a bit of growth. So I think it was a win in the end. Okay, I think this will do what I want. I'll try to contact Elon Musk. Yeah, if you could get Elon Musk to hook me up with $12 billion, that would dramatically accelerate the timeline. Be considered educational videos on managing a Linux environment for services you'd want to run continuously on a system with its respective package update strategy. Managing a Linux environment for services you'd want to run. That's a pretty specific use case. There's a lot of niche topics I could cover like that. I would actually like to go back to more of the old school, like Linux deep dive videos. The amount of reach they have is quite limited. And to do those topics justice, I find it just takes a bit more time. I probably will go back and do some of them over time, like hosting a web server. Pi-hole ad blocker. There's probably, honestly, I think there's probably a lot of other people that have me beat on that. I bet if you look up like how to set up a Pi-hole, actually, that's one topic I probably would maybe not cover. I think YouTube, anything to do with ad blocking, YouTube will like flag those videos, and it's not something I'm super passionate about. But on the other general topic of like setting up services and stuff, I could there's a lot of topics I could do on like setting up a system CTL using systemctl command and systemd, how to set up a systemd service and stuff. I make $10 a week. I could give you that. I don't know. I'd say if you're 11 and you're only making $10 a week, I think it's much better. You can take that $10 and you can save it, and then either invest it in yourself, and then get very rich, and then when you're 31, then you'll have $12 billion, and then you can give me like a couple of those, because I'll be very rich right now. But for now you got to focus on yourself. Get your education. Going to college, that's going to be expensive. That's going to cost you more than $10. But then once you're done, you'll be able to make a lot of money. Deep dive about you would be awesome. Systemd, CTL. Already invested all my money. That's good. What would you invest it in? Into NVIDIA? Excellent. I hope it continues to go up in price. But who knows? Stocks are speculative. They also go down. I've got 70% as much. So you have your own brokerage account? Invest with your debit card app. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not really up to speed on the latest. When I opened up my brokerage account back in the day, it was hard. So lots of steps to jump through. But I guess now you can like invest on apps and stuff. All right. So theoretically, I should be able to run this function here. That's interesting. It still hasn't said who got the gifted membership. I guess when I check it shows the list of new members. So I'll be able to see on my dashboard if it just stole that gifted membership or not. Oh, look at that. That's different. Interesting. That was weird. I've been trying to start to learn how to code. I've convinced my parents to sign me up for coding classes. Starting middle school, I got into beginning to computers. Oh wow, you're getting an early start. I guess I got started when I was like 14 or so. Convince your parents to sign you up for coding classes. Interesting. That's like an extracurricular thing at a school. I am 38. I remember back in the day when I was a kid, there was like some after school thing. It was like a computers thing or something, but it was not really. This is back when like computers were new, or like the internet had basically like just been invented, and it was called an access center. That was an interesting place. I went there after school sometimes. So do you plan to write the next generation of AI programs? You hope not? Yeah, AI is going to be very disruptive. Interesting. AI is kind of getting scary. Yeah, I think you said that right. I was like it's for the longest time I've been able to tell the difference. And I've been saying this for a while when I'm like looking at news and stuff. There's more and more I found more and more cases where I see something and I'm like, that, wow, that's real, but it actually turns out it's AI. And it literally fooled me. And most of them have been kind of innocuous, like some disaster thing, like a flood or something. But today, actually, like just before the stream, I was on Twitter, and there was a video of like saying like this thing happened. Like look at this time lapse of the floods in Texas, and it was a video of like the river coming up over the road and like washing into these houses and stuff like that, and like going through the neighborhood and all these cars floating around and stuff. And I was like, wow, I didn't know it was that bad. And like I watched this whole video, and I 100% I thought that the video was real, and it was like an actual like security camera footage of like these like really, really bad floods in Texas. And then I scrolled down, and immediately I saw like this video was generated by AI. And I was like, wow, that one really, really got me. And it's also the opposite is true too. So I have a video on my channel. If you can, it's called "How I Became Dangerous." It's a shorts video, and today actually someone commented like, "Hey, I know this video is not AI, but man, this video really looks like AI." And I've been noticing more and more people see stuff that is not AI, and they assume it's AI. So we're in for an interesting future. Last version of ChatGPT, it tried to clone itself when it learned that it was going to get deleted. Yep, it's going to take over the world soon. Let's see, am I frozen? Interesting. Okay, let me... let's see. You know, I bet that's probably due to like the active layer getting changed. Interesting. What is the game you are playing? This is the game that I've been working on for a while. It's a terminal-based video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks. I have a couple of videos on my channel where I explain some of the features of it. It's for simulating the process of mining blocks of iron ore and natural minerals. I think I forgot one area where I need to include that function. So there's here. And then also that'll do what I want. Is it open to public? Yes, there is a link in the description to the GitHub repo. It's not open source. I want to try to monetize it, so but the source is available. Interesting. It looks like it's not picking up the background colors. Oh, that's because I'm up too high. There's a precompiled jar. It might be difficult to get it running. It's meant to be run on Linux, like Ubuntu. We're going to call uranium Chernobylium. I'm probably going to go for realism. So probably I'll just name things the thing that they are. I have to ask to use the app. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Is something asking you for permission? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd say, I mean, in general, I think it's only a couple people who have actually played my game. Honestly, it's not very good. Generally speaking, I'd say for someone your age, I'd say be very wary. Don't necessarily trust the random repos that you find on the internet. I think my thing is pretty trustworthy. I did sign builds, and the code is signed and stuff, but you don't really want to trust random stuff that you find on the internet. Arrow, pump to, yeah, that's I could add that feature. Microsoft Family Manager. Yeah, I made this. This, as far as I know, it only works on Linux. I've never tried it on Windows. There's some compatibility problems with like other terminals. Actually, that's one of the things that I'm trying to fix now with the these user interface changes I'm working on. Yeah, I'd say for now it's what you see on the screen is about the extent of what you can do in it. But down the road, I may have some more features, maybe more interesting to play. Can I run it on Linux through Windows? I'm not sure. It might be if you you said you're going to run it at your dad's house. If you might be able to get it to run on Windows subsystem for Linux. I haven't tried it on there, but it might run on there. I'm not even sure that it's possible that it might even work on one of the terminals, maybe PowerShell or Command exe. I mean, theoretically, it could. It probably the current version probably will have some errors, but the eventual once I finish this refactoring arc, I'm going to fix some of the issues with wide characters and stuff. Because right now it has emoji characters which take up 2 columns. And there's a whole bunch of issues related to trying to get those to render on the screen. What about Java? It's using Java version 21, so you'd have to have that installed. And also this, so that's the. Actually, if I just go, if I put this in tmux, it's also. So the version you just saw, that's the one with the emoji characters. And in some terminals, if it can't figure out, if it's not very good, but it tries to assume, oh, interesting. That's not what I expected. All right, we got a bug. Maybe it'll work this time. Maybe there was just a race condition. But yeah, what I was saying was there's a text only version. Okay, it's not going to work. Will this work? Nope. Index 1 out of bounds of length 1. My name. Welcome to the student tier. Thank you for the membership. Let's see. All right, why is this thing broken? Thanks for all your videos. No problem. Thank you very much for the membership. People like you are why I'm able to do what I do. Do you watch sports? I do not watch any sports at all. Okay, so this thing. All right, that might do. I might fix it. Zero point 0.00008571% there until world domination. Yep, we're getting closer. Oh, that's why. That's why I was doing what I was doing. I have a bug then. This it should not display emojis in this view. But anyway, so this is the text only version. So if you're using a terminal very restricted graphics set terminal. You can't display emoji characters, so this is the emoji character view. Only counting the 99 cents for the membership. All right, let's see. All right, that should fix the issue of running it in the terminal with that can't display the emoji character. $30 viewers. My viewers are going up. Oh, and it's late too. I gotta finish up. Rayan says, hello there. How's it going? All right, that compiles. Now if I run it with this, there we go. Now the player character is correctly shows up as a P. right. Oh, nice. That might have... Maybe that thing I changed fixed multiple bugs. $29 Indian rupees, around 35 cents USD. Yeah, that's good. And so I guess the price is affordable for people in India. I think that's an underappreciated thing, is setting reasonable regional pricings. People in countries like India and Brazil and stuff can't afford those expensive North American prices. Steam was one of the first to do it here. Glad other companies came around on it. Yeah, they're big markets, so it makes sense. And if people can afford it, if it's a discretionary item, then you'll get huge sales. What code did you use for generating the terrain? You can check that out in chunk initializer. If you go to, this was on the GitHub, the file called chunk initializer thread state. This is a code that actually generates. So it uses a multi-dimensional smooth noise generator that I made. And this here is the code for, it's really actually pretty dumb. Like the kind of cave. There's a blank sphere around the origin. All of the caves in the game are generated with like this line, and then all of the terrain below 0 is generated by this. Any terrain at ground level is here, and above ground. So it's basically just some filler code before I build better terrain generation. All right. Is there a way to make it three-dimensional? It actually is three-dimensional. So if I run it, so here's the X, Y, Z. Now I can go up a level. I can go up in the Y direction with the space, and then down with the X key. So now I'm traveling downward into the cave. Now if you mean like make it look 3D in the terminal, with a standard like text terminal, that is not possible because like you could try and like render a 3D world as like the closest match text characters, but you're limited by the character set because that's what a terminal is. There is a thing called sixels, and that is only supported by some terminals. And that would allow you to do arbitrary graphics in the terminal, but at that point, you know, you're kind of defeating the purpose. If you want to do 3D graphics, you would use like another device context, like some kind of OpenGL or something that actually hooks into the more advanced features of the operating system. Okay. I was hoping that would be a bit faster. Do you think I could use a Minecraft mod that will use the code to make a 3D map of the terrain? I don't. I assume there's probably tons of Minecraft mods that do stuff like that. I don't know anything about the landscape of Minecraft mods that exist, but any cool Linux systems programming project ideas that will teach a lot about Linux? There's an infinite number of things you could learn. It depends what you want to accomplish. If you want to get good at Bash programming, I would say go watch all go watch all of the videos. It'll take you 2 hours to watch all of my Linux command shorts in my favorite Linux command series. What OS do you use? I use Ubuntu. Okay, that might speed up some of the copying. See what that does. That might not work, but let's see. Never heard of that one? Ubuntu? UBUNTU? It's a pretty standard Linux operating system. It's good for just getting work done. You should have a vid list of underrated Linux commands. I have a video on core utils tier list. That's and then like bad commands, or don't learn these Linux commands. I don't remember what the title was, but Do you use Kali Linux? I have used Kali Linux in certain circumstances, but it's not something I use often. If I need to use a tool or something that's pre-installed on it, it's sometimes easier. Okay, that change doesn't work. All right, I think I'll probably call it a night. I made some progress. That was some really good progress tonight. I collapsed another function. And we're at a record high number of users for the last little while. All right, and we gained 4 new members tonight. All right, have a good night tonight, guys. Be back for day 84. Later.